So the big question is this: how do investors like us who don't have a PhD in finance or millions to start investing, how do we grow our bank accounts to build real savings and retirements and yet still have the time to do what we really love? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. And so you have to what? You have to do it, right? You have to be more, you have to do more. You really have to, punch your way through at the beginning. Because if you can't push at the beginning, that difference between, your peak potential and where you are is just going to grow and grow and grow and grow. And I'm not a fan of, scarcity mindset by any means. Like, it's all about abundance, right? There is plenty and plenty and plenty of wealth out there. But it's this idea that, like, if you can just do a little bit more at the beginning and have a little bit more attention, a little bit more focus, a little bit more effort, a little bit more education at the start, your curve, your growth is going to be so much more impactful, so much faster, especially as you start to, go out into the long term, right? Because you're starting just a little bit ahead of other people, right? And so, you might start in the middle. Most people start with nothing, right? And so, like, just getting started is a huge leap. Like, half of Americans don't even own stock. So just by, like, starting, you're already, like, starting so far ahead of literally hundreds of millions of people, which is, like, so insane. Oh, man. And so to think that, like, this curve is only going to grow, right? And the wealth inequality, right? What causes that? I'll tell you what causes that. Top 1% own what? They don't own all the money. They own all the assets, right? The difference is asset accumulation. And it's all about what? Building that portfolio to build real savings and retirements. It's so core, so foundational, and yet, like, no one focuses on it, which is, like, insane, right? So the goal, right, is to apply this principle, this idea that, like, if you put in a little bit of extra work at the beginning, it's going to have a huge impact in the end. It's going to change everything over time, and at a very core level, like, you're going to have so much more long-term success, so much more long-term prosperity, and so much more growth. And it just all comes from what? It comes from a very, very simple process of doing what works, doing what's right. Like, for these kids that were playing hockey, or for these goldfish, right? Like, all they're doing is what? They're doing a natural process. They're eating, or they're practicing, or they're playing. And it's not something difficult to do. Investing, all you have to do is go out there and do it, right? And you get the result. If you're not happy with where you are, or if you don't like the results that you're getting, the only thing you can do is change your actions. Because you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, right? Like, that's insane. And so, like, to change paths, right? It's this idea that, like, the shift that you're going to make, it's not a linear shift, right? It's not a simple shift from, poor to wealthy or whatever, right? It's a curve, right? And you start at the beginning, it's very, very close, Those 7-year-olds and those 8-year-olds, they are very, very close at the beginning. But it's a mindset shift. It's a personality shift. I remember, when I was really, like, early in school, like elementary or middle school or whatever, like, I would take a lot of the work, like, 10 times more seriously than my peers. And what was interesting is, like, everybody still basically got sort of the same grades for a while when it was just, like, participation or crap like that. But then it got to the point where there were actually, like, real time. So it was, like, real thought involved. There was a real process to go through. And then as soon as that happens, what's so radically crazy is, like, you start to see, people that really succeed and really crush it because they've been putting in the effort, they've been putting in the energy, and they've been developing the right mindset to do the right work, to have the right efficiencies, the right outputs, and just do better, work. And those people who maybe weren't initially rewarded, maybe it was a very small difference at the beginning, started to have exponentially greater returns on their investment in energy, time, and focus as they geometrically separated themselves from others. And then you start to see, like, the comparison between people who get, like, a 5 on a test, people who get, like, 100, right? It's this difference of a core foundation, right? And so the goal is to spend as much time as you can, like, really quickly getting it down and understanding exactly what you need to do, and then doing it over and over again at the beginning, so that in the end you have the results, you have the growth, and you have that long-term success, which is, like, just so awesome and so crazy. And it's something I was really thinking about. If you guys were watching Trading Live on Twitch, like, there was a position yesterday, it went up 400%. And I bought it at 36, stock closed like $100. It was insane. I got stopped out of the trade, which was like, oh my God, it was a heartbreaker. But it was also like a totally really great learning experience because what? Like I set my stop loss way too tight. I set it it was like break even after a 1 minute pop up, about 10%, and it just cut off literally like hundreds of percent. I mean, it would have quadrupled my portfolio, which is like just insane, right? And so like it's this idea that you want to get it right at the beginning. And at first, maybe the results don't come, right? Because like, you're in school, you're in college, you're learning something, and you have to go through the process of figuring out how to make the car before you can actually make the car, right? You can't build something before you know how to build it. You can't invest in something really, really well until you know how to invest, right? And so you're going through this process of like learning and making it perfect. And it's just so powerful. Because you know that like in the long term, what's going to happen? You're going to have that overarching growth. You're going to have that huge geometric growth curve that really starts with what? It doesn't start with a difference in performance. It starts with a difference in mindset. It starts with a difference in the way that you approach the opportunities and the challenges that you sort of experience in the marketplace, right? And if you look at this with investing, I mean, it's just so perfectly planned out and so well displayed because investing, it's so simple, right? You track your portfolio value and you can see that geometric or compounding growth curve, right? And it's so simple. And I think it's hard because like with education or with, personal focus and determination, like you can't actually see that visually with portfolios. Like it's right there, you can see that is the growth curve. That is the shift, right? And you can see like this is the goldfish getting bigger versus this is the goldfish getting smaller. And here's the most important part. Like if you are starting out as that smaller goldfish, like I was a long time ago, or if you are maybe that kid who wasn't as great as hockey as the other guys, which I was actually like hockey's so much fun. Oh my gosh. Like you've got to realize that, understand it, like realize the trend and say, okay, this is the trend. I see what's happening here. And then push through. Because it's not like there's no hockey players born in December, November, October. That's bogus, right? There is a complete and total possibility. It's not like there's no small goldfish who ever became big goldfish. Like, no, right? Small fish can become fish, big fish. It just takes determination. It's a little bit more effort, a little bit more energy, and a little bit more concentration. But the payoff of that is so much greater than one of, slacking off or not focusing or not doing anything that you want, or just not getting the results that you want consistently, persistently over time. Like, that's awful, right? And so if you want to change the results, you got to change your actions and just go out there and do what you know is the right thing to do. And as soon as you apply that, like, oh my gosh, so powerful because you're already on the path, right? Like if you think about, and I'll finish on this, I think this is pretty powerful. Like if you want to go down a slide, right? And you want to get to the bottom of, some place that are whatever, right? If you want to get to the bottom of the slide, what do? You take the logical step, right? You freaking sit butt down and slide, and that's it. All you have to do is go through the process. And yet so many people, they will jump off the swing set or jump off the platform and just like slip and fall and twist their legs or land on their back. They do these crazy, ridiculous things because they think that it's going to be a faster way, or they think it's going to be easier, or they didn't take the 30 seconds it takes to realize that there's a ladder, or there's a slide, or there's a pole that they can slide down, which is just like insane. Because if you just spend that little bit of time at the beginning figuring out how to most effectively and most, slides are fun, the most fun way to get to that end result and the best way to have those results. Like if you just stood there for 30 seconds and watched what the other kids were doing, watched what other people were doing, and watch, see who has the most success getting to the ground, going down the slide, watch others and mimic what works. Like as soon as you do that, the growth path is 10 times easier. And it doesn't matter if you're starting off just a little bit further behind somebody. It doesn't matter if somebody goes down the slide before you and then you realize, oh, okay, maybe I should go down that slide. Because you can start this growth curve where you're sort of on a geometric curve and others might be on a linear curve, right? And so at the beginning, they might have a little bit more results than you, but you can slide down the slide after the kid in front of you slides down the slide, after someone in front of you slides down the slide. And then what do? You just run past them once you're on the ground, right? And then you just sprint and go so much faster than anyone else could even dream of. Because what's the difference, right? The difference is mindset. The difference is your ambition, your passion, your moat, drive. Because the starting place, even though if you can start like at the back of the pack on a 5K, and I've done it many, many times, but you can pass a vast majority of the people in the race if you just run faster than them. Like the starting place doesn't matter. And I don't care if it's a starting place physically or if it's a starting place with like your socioeconomic status. Like it does not matter. American economy changes everything. It opens up opportunities and gateways that can literally change every single individual's life, no matter what the background is, which is like, so powerful. And so the goal, right, is to just do tactically, strategically, but effectively. And to make it happen in really the fastest way possible, to just have the most growth, the most success by just going through the path that works. And then once you find the system, once you find the technique, once you find maybe that technical set, a technical indicator, I don't know, but you find what works and you can do it over and over and over again. After that, what is it? It's just the art of execution. You just have to make it happen over and over and over and over again. I remember I absolutely oh my God, like school, like in high school, right? Like I couldn't trade 9 to noon just because like I had school, and it was like so crushing because I was like, I'm busy, it's so much fun. But at the same time, like you have to understand that even though I might have been held back for a couple of years, well, not held back, but like personally, physically unable to invest, actively at least, I still crushed it with swing trades. So I guess it was good because I learned how to do really, really well with that. But and crypto, I mean, honestly, I'm not complaining. Like everything's amazing. It's so perfect. But it's this idea that it doesn't matter, where you're starting. Because if you just sprint faster than everybody else, you can pass them even if you start a mile behind them. So that's the big message for today, guys. I hope you guys get a ton of value from this. Go out there, apply it, absolutely crush it. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you. Bye. Hey! Want more stock market secrets? If so, go get your free copy of my best-selling book, 9 to Noon. You can get your free copy plus $11,176 of unannounced bonuses it took me years to uncover completely for free at 9tonoonsecrets.com. Inside 9 to Noon, you'll find the top 38 secrets you can use to double your portfolio every 2 years and make upwards of 10% per trade daily.